Welcome to TRADEREP. This is Short Hammer. It is the 25th of September 2019, and we're taking a look at Netflix. Now, Netflix, ever since it ran up against the wall in the 380s right here, that it was unable to break since, since 2018, this wall has held. We've just been bearish and moving to the downside. And after we had this gap down on earnings, even the buyback up, we couldn't get above this 335.96. Roll back to the downside. We tried to consolidate here right around that 300 area. But when you see this consolidation sideways for a while, when you break out of that area, usually you'll go a significant number down. So we were consolidating between 282 and the 300. So my expectation would be at least a break of this down to the 270s, and that's where we went. And then we back tested the 270 area, which happens to be a supply demand line. And now we're down below the 260s, and we're approaching the 250 supply demand line. And the extension of this looks like we can go through the supply demand zone down here to the 230s. So that's what we have on tap. So what you always want to watch for, and let me go to the lower time frame on Netflix. So this is the 5-minute chart on Netflix, and this is Monday. So as you'll see, Monday pull back into this main intraday pivot, and also through the 200 SMA, and then we just fell to the downside. We tried to pull back over the 270s, could not, and we sold. We bounced here, pulled back a little bit, bounced again, rolled through, hit the top of the supply demand zone, the 262.09, pulled back, and then headed into Tuesday. We opened up with a pullback into the 50, it looks like, and from there we rolled over. And you can see a few levels from the previous day that if you wanted to fade this, you could fade this with your stop being closer to the 265 area, or a little bit above the 265, like 265.40s. But once you started seeing the lower highs and then a lower low, you could have waited for a pullback. And right here we have the monthly pivot and also the top of the supply demand zone. We double tapped here at 262. Then we just rolled to the downside. Now today, since we are below the quarterly, I would personally be looking for a pullback around 255 on the intraday, and we'll see if that happens or not. And potentially these upper wicks here, I'll be looking at that as an area to enter short and fade this to the downside. And my stop, I'm looking maybe potentially around this 256.95 to 257.29. So I may enter a portion here, then keep my average where I could get in more here at this 256.95 by 257. So I'll see how we look when we get around the 255 if that happens, if we do pull back. And I'll see if we can see a flare or a spike up around the 256 to 257.29 area to be able to fade this back down. And on the fade back down, I would look for the 255 as potentially my first place to either scale out or exit and see if we roll more to the downside. That's what I would be looking for on Netflix today. And if we pull back through this area, let's say we get to the 255 when we begin to look weak, I might enter in a few contracts here. And if we continue to go up, then I'd enter the majority of my position. So I might enter in like maybe 25% here. Then the majority of my position here around this 257 area. And then a close above this. And if it looks like we're going to go, that's where I would have my stop loss. But would be my average area right around this area here for the majority of my my contracts or shares. as far as a short position. If we break above this, then I would just scale out or just exit and wait for a break back below, retest, fail, and then fade it again. That would be my my plan on Netflix today. So we'll see what happens. But if we don't pull back above here, then if above this 255 or above this 256.95 by 257 area, if we don't pull back to that, then I don't really have an entry. And if we pull back through here and there's some strong bullish candles, and I see the volume and everything pointing to the upside and the market's trending up, I'm not going to try to fade this. I'm only going to fade this if I see us push through, and then I see corresponding weakness like lower highs and also an increase in selling volume.